They're in South Korea at the moment and being put through their paces and then some, according to reports. Antonio Conte, this was their third training session in just over 24 hours. At the end of it, he made them run 42 pitch lengths, which saw a lot of the players collapsing on the side of the pitch from what we saw. Stevie, is this beneficial? What's Conte getting out of this, or what the players getting out of this?
Brain damage. That's what they're getting at it. 3 times, I mean, this is mad. I'm sorry, this is madness. This 3 times a day nonsense and running 42 lengths of the pitch at the end of the day on your third. I'm sorry. There's one thing to get your players fit, but there's another thing to try and break them, because that kind of seems to me what's happening here. I don't understand that whatsoever. I never have understood it. There's 3 times a day and this completely annihilating players.
But who
you don't have to do that.
But Stevie, who are we to argue when everybody does things differently? It worked at Juventus, it worked at Chelsea when he was there, it worked at Inter Milan, and certainly Tottenham have improved in his time there. They got in the top 4. They were nowhere near getting in the top 4. So, I mean, I get it. I would hate it if it was me and I was having to do the 42 lengths, and I used to hate that kind of stuff. But I mean, who are we to argue? He's had success. Well,
I know he has, but I mean, we're always talking about the whole package here. It's not just about being 100% fit. You know, there's something to be said for playing for your manager and playing for the club and playing for your teammates and playing for the... You know, there's all kinds of different ways of doing it. I get that. I guess I'm coming from me. I would be talking to the managers. You know what I'm saying? What's good? I want to know how this is good for me. That you're running the guts out of me to the point where I'm lying on the ground, maybe spewing my ring up, and I feel as though I just want to go to sleep and never wake up. I'm sorry. Listen, there has to be a little bit of heart and soul involved in hard work. But just running the guts out of people, it seems like for the sake of it, because that's what it is to me. 42. I remember running the length of the field, and I can assure you, never once did we run it 42 times. And we didn't do too bad, by the way, winning the Champions League and the Premier League and all the other leagues and all the other cups, I should say. I guess there's a different way of doing it. I don't agree with it. I don't see the point of killing your players, basically, because that, to me, that's what it sounds like.
Naden?
Yeah, I'm with Stevie on that, to be honest. And, you know, for Conte, it has worked. We can see this type of thing that he did today. You know, it's more sort of like it's a mental fitness challenge. It's almost like a clear vision for the players to know where the power is, and the power lies with Conte. And they would feel under so much pressure because they knew that if they didn't do the 42 or if they didn't do the 30 that was prescribed, then they'll be perceived as failures and they won't get the chance to play. And in some ways, you know, I get that Conte wants those people to be able to run through a brick wall for each other this is how you have to be successful. But there are other ways to do it, especially when you look at the fact that, you know, in some of the videos that you see, those last few laps, they're basically at walking pace. So how is that really going to transition towards playing like a really good high-intensity level of football? But as I say, for Conte, this is what he does. This is what he gets from his teams. But my only sort of like bit of caution with this is that when I've seen managers in the past who come in with these big extremes, these big mental tests and so on, and, you know, they're clearly the number one, they're the most powerful person. When results don't go well on the field, all of a sudden those methods don't get looked at in the same way. People start to respect them less. And as a consequence, that sort of like mutiny or rebellion is far greater than managers who, you know, do things in a slightly different manner. Because when it is an extreme, before you know it, like, people start wondering what's the point. And I think for Spurs, fair play to them for crossing the line and doing it together and sticking together as a team. But in the grand scheme of things, is that going to be the defining factor in them being successful going forward? Who knows?